Bill Duval. So I got a Skinner story. I hope I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm sure Ross won't mind. They were filming a special for Skinner last year, late last year. And they called, and I got the invite to sing Tuesday's Gone with them for this special.
Whoa.
And we had heard and knew from publications that Gary Rossington was dealing with some heart stuff, you know? So there was this kind of quietly unsaid, like, this might be one of his last specials. You know, he's the last standing member, right? And I go to do rehearsal with him. And, of course, Johnny's there, Johnny Van Zant, great guy. He's been singing with him, 30 years, however long, I think 30 years, forever. Peter Keys is on the keys. I know a couple of guys, and I go meet Gary. And he is the sweetest, kindest man, Joe. And he just keeps thanking me for coming to do this. I'm doing a fucking Skinner thing, a tribute. I grew up in the South, Joe. This is insane for me. You know what I'm saying? This is like where I'm from, Jesus, Skinner. You know what I'm saying? In football somewhere, they were fought for primetime television around us. And I'm going to leave from rehearsal that day. And I look behind me because I heard some feet shuffling, and Gary was chasing me, Joe, to the door. To turn around and go, man, I just can't thank you enough for doing this, man. This is so awesome that you took the time out. It's just like fucking legend. And I talked to his manager, and his manager said, is there anything you can do for us? And I was like, frankly, I don't ever ask, but I kind of want an autograph. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but he said, no, don't worry. He's already got something planned for y'all. So when I get to the green room the night of the special taping, there's a guitar in the green room signed by the band and Gary, and a poster signed by Gary for my mother.
Wow.
Yep. This is it. You are fucking wild, Jamie.
Jamie's the man.
It's scary, to be honest. This is the footage from it. And I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it went on to be his last performance.
Wow.
And this story gets even wilder. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this part. They say, can you come and touch up, like, just come, they want you to listen and see if you need to touch up a vocal, right? They just give you an option. They just, you know what I mean? And I was like, all right, cool, because they were going to put it out. And I just had to go approve it, and they want you to approve it in person. And if you need to sing, they'll allow you to sing sometimes. Some specials won't. This, maybe 2 Inside Sausage. But I was going the day that Gary was going to finish putting licks on their new record or some new music they were working on. That's the day he died. I woke up that morning to the news that Gary Rossington had died, and I was fixing to see him at the studio in 3 hours. And his team hit me and said, we know just with Gary's spirit and energy that what he'd want for you to do today is go down there if you have time. And I still went and I approved the vocal. I didn't have to make no changes or touch-ups. He just wanted to make sure I was cool with some stuff and approve, just approval shit, just respectful. And it was crazy, man, because Gary Rossington's guitar tech walks in, Joe. And he looks over at the engineer, the producer, who's been working with Gary for 30 years or whatever, 40 years, however long he's been doing it. These guys, tight crew. Guitar tech looks and goes, I was stringing his guitar when I got the call for today's session. I was like, look, it might be a bad time to say this, but how poetic. Could you imagine being that dude, talking about the greatest guitar solos ever written, guitar tech, and you find out he passed away while you're holding his baby? You know what I'm saying? Just unreal. Like, what a way to go. You know what I mean? Like
synchronicity.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he survived plane crashes. You know what I'm saying? They went through some shit, dude. Skinner went through some shit, dude.
Right.
Yeah, they were fucking, it's wild, man. So that's dope. And hopefully that special comes out this year because that was just a night I'll never forget. And he was so sweet. And I hope it shows this on stage. I walked over to him at the end of Tuesday's Gone, Joe, when he's doing his solo. And as soon as he finishes, I just grab him by his shoulders and I kiss him on the forehead and I just hug him. And I just whispered, man, you impacted me in such a way. You will never know how much you've changed how I feel about music, And I know that in my spirit that the last time I sang Gary Rossington, I gave that man his fucking flowers.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
I get teary-eyed again, dude, just talking about it. Just that